They hunted gators during the day and lived according to their own rules at night, but not everyone in the swamp was a saint. Since 2010, we've followed the lives of these cinjun alligator hunters as they faced danger and triumph in Louisiana's Achafallayia swamp. However, some of them met tragic ends, shocking arrests, and scandals that rocked the fan base who find out what happened to the characters from Swamp People you thought you knew, including R.J. Moliere Jr., J. Paul Molinaire, and Paul, as well as who ended up in prison and paid the ultimate pay, from tragic to unbelievable. Fans of Swamp Thing weren't the only ones who loved J. Paul Molinaire and J. Legends. With a massive fan base, the father-son duo joined Swamp People in Season 2 and swiftly became known for their 60 years of experience hunting the most dangerous alligators. Their intensity was supported by real-life muscle, as RJ is a world champion arm wrestler and Jal is a Golden Gloves boxer. Gained popularity among fans by drawing on their Native American heritage and hunting expertise. However, problems began in 2013 when the group encountered significant legal obstacles, leading to the incarceration of several cast members. On August 8, 2013, the Molinaires were involved in a confrontation with a 24-year-old man outside Roland's Minimart in Bourg, Louisiana. After what seemed like a minor incident of road rage escalated into a full-blown assault at a convenience store, the Molinaires, RJ and J. Paul, captured the perpetrators, booked them into jail, and now they await trial. The victim suffered injuries such as a black eye, swollen jaw, and a knot on his forehead. In court, they pleaded not guilty to aggravated battery charges. Molinaire's attorneys made the ironic claim that their clients were the victims in this situation, claiming that the alleged victim had thrown a beer bottle at the Molinaires' vehicle before the incident at the store. The solicitors pushed for a thorough investigation into everyone involved, regardless of how serious the charges were. RJ and J. Paul kept appearing on Swamp People for a while after the incident, proving that their roles were unaffected by the legal troubles. However, no conviction was ever recorded in relation to this incident. The couple appears to have been able to resolve their differences and avoid prison time. Randy Edwards, in contrast to what you might believe, did not die while hunting alligators. Edwards comes from a long line of swamp hunters and was the last of his kind. Randy Edwards is the beloved reality show's son, brother, and co-star. He debuted on the show in 2010 and has been a regular since then, showing off his skills as an alligator hunter in the Achafallayia River Basin. His parents, Junior and Teresa, were also regulars on Swamp People. Tragically, at the age of 35, Series lost his life in a car crash on September 15, 2018 in Iberville Parish, Louisiana. The accident happened in the early morning hours as Edwards was driving his 2002 Chevrolet Silverado on LA 76 south of LA 366, according to the report given by the Louisiana State Police. He failed to negotiate a left-hand curve, which caused Edwards was pronounced dead at the scene of the crash. Adding to the tragedy, he was not wearing a seatbelt at the time of the crash. Authorities suspected impairment as a contributing factor and collected a toxicology sample for analysis, but the results were negative. The news of Randy Edwards' untimely death was made public after his wife and 3 young children shared it on their official Facebook page. The Edwards family asked for privacy while they grieved, but fans and fellow cast members offered condolences and remembered his positive impact on the show and his lively personality, a devastating blow to the Swamp People community. Roger Rivers was a prominent figure in Season 5 of the History Channel reality show Swamp People, which follows the lives of Bayous residents of Louisiana who hunt alligators. Rivers, who was originally from Zola, Louisiana, was depicted as a courageous hunter with an insatiable. Rivers' fearless nature was on full display in a terrifying encounter when a gigantic 12-foot 7-inch alligator swung by his boat, plunging him into the water. Despite the danger, Rivers subdued the alligator, earning him a spot on the show. Off-screen, Rivers enjoyed providing for his family through hunting. His reputation was severely damaged in May 2017 when he was arrested and charged with numerous wildlife violations and offenses, which made him one of the swamp men. He frequently stressed that his pursuits were not for sport, but for subsistence, saying, "I don't do this for the money, I do it to live off the land. It's what I do and I love it." Members of the cast who ended up in prison were facing charges such as 6 counts of selling alligator snapping turtles, 3 counts of selling reptiles or amphibians without a collector's license, 3 counts of taking alligators without a license, 2 counts of failing to tag an alligator, 2 counts of selling fish caught recreationally, 1 count of selling alligator meat illegally, and 1 count of failing to properly process an alligator. Rivers' legal troubles escalated in September 2022 when he was arrested once again, this time on charges of residential contractor fraud. The accusations against him included selling deer meat and 2 counts of marijuana possession, which portrayed him as heavily involved in the illegal wildlife trade and transformed his image from that of a subsistence hunter to that of a poacher. His reputation was further damaged when he was accused of taking $6,000 from a client for a construction job that he allegedly never finished. This incident demonstrated that Rivers had a pattern of fraudulent behavior. Despite all of this, his love for hunting and the swamp lifestyle is clear, and he has stated his intention to keep living it. Joe Trapper, Joe LaFonte's contributions to swamp people have been overshadowed by his legal troubles, which serve as a cautionary tale about the consequences of straying from legal and ethical boundaries in pursuit of one's passions. The cast members of the show have gets himself into a lot of trouble, whether it's with illegal animal trade or aggravated assault. The next cast member is Joe LaFonte, who is known to Swamp People fans as Trapper Joe. Joe was a prominent figure in the show's early seasons, when he and his stepson Tommy Shove had a dynamic partnership that captivated the audience. With their extensive understanding of the Louisiana swamps, strong bonding, and exceptional hunting skills, the 2 actors became beloved by fans as they embodied the traditional cinjun swamp lifestyle. However, Joe Trapper's off-screen life was tainted by a string of legal issues, most notably the domestic violence allegations that occurred in June 2012 at the Buena Vista Palace Hotel, nearby Walt Disney World. The arrest affidavit states that witnesses saw Trapper Joe violently shake his girlfriend, punch her in the chest, and try to burn her with a lit cigarette. Despite the seriousness of the incident, it appeared that both parties were intoxicated. The arrest took place in Florida. Trapper Joe's live-in girlfriend accused him of breaking 2 of her ribs during a confrontation in May 2015 in Plamanese Parish, Louisiana. According to his girlfriend, Trapper Joe pushed her to the floor. Unfortunately, his girlfriend chose not to press charges, so the case's progression is unclear. After an argument left her with injuries, she was embarrassed to seek medical attention. However, she eventually got the news she had fractures. Even though she didn't want to face criminal charges, the case was sent to the district attorney's office for review. Trapper Joe's legal troubles led him to quit the Swamp People show after 2016. The show went on without LaFonte, who was instrumental in its early success, but his legal issues, especially the domestic violence accusations, probably played a role in his decision to leave the reality series. Nicholas Payne. Nicholas Payne is another member of the Swamp People cast who got into trouble. He had a brush with the law in 2011 when, on September 23rd, deputies from the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office responded to a disturbance at Payne's residence in. He was an apprentice to Bruce Mitchell on the History Channel reality series Swamp People. His time on the show was abruptly ended due to serious legal issues stemming from the altercation. Payne was reportedly locked out of his home in Pearl River, Louisiana, and was making a racket when police arrived. The situation escalated when Payne hit a female deputy in the chest as she tried to issue him a citation for disturbing the peace. After the assault, Payne fled into the nearby woods, prompting the deployment of a K-9 unit which tracked down the pursuing dog. Payne, who needed medical treatment at a nearby hospital. Subsequent investigations revealed that Payne had a Florida warrant for failing to appear in court on charges of drug paraphernalia possession. As a consequence, Payne faced numerous charges including resisting arrest. The incident effectively ended Payne's involvement with Swamp People. A representative from the History Channel stated that Payne had not been involved with the show since the conclusion of the previous season's filming and offered no additional details. He was wanted by another state, and his bail was set at $10,000, which he failed to post, landing him in jail for a long time. Remarks on the subject. Troy Landry, also known as the King of the Swamp in the Swamp People series, became famous for showcasing the Louisiana tradition of alligator hunting and winning over fans with his knowledge and affinity for the bayou. However, in September 2024, he encountered some legal troubles. On the 19th, he was following a tip about white flag alligator hunting lines. Agents from the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, LDWF, secretly set up surveillance in the area surrounding Lake Powell in St. Mary Parish. During their stakeout, they caught a glimpse of Troy, accompanied by a woman of 28 years old and an unnamed cameraman. As they neared the lines, the woman pulled out a live 7 to 8 foot alligator, which prompted Troy to spear and kill the reptile before loading it onto their boat.
When confronted, Troy denied taking any alligators from the area, but admitted to harvesting when presented with evidence from the agent's observations. Troy was issued 2 citations for violations, one for failing to properly tag an alligator upon capture, and another for the untagged body of a soldier. He admitted to releasing a dead alligator from his line earlier in the day, and the line used by Landry was later discovered floating in the lake. Troy, whose boat engine was confiscated by authorities, and the alligator that had been improperly tagged were all present at the civil restitution hearing. When asked about the incident, Landry chose not to comment, saying, "I got a speeding ticket also last month, but I have nothing to say about it. The fine for this offense could reach $950, and he could spend up to $120 days in jail." Lindsay Landry, his daughter-in-law, played down the situation, calling it just a ticket, and she seemed confused about how the public would react. Chase Landry, a prominent member of the Swamp People cast, was involved in a big legal controversy in 2016 following his discharge. According to reports, on September 2, 2016, while navigating Bayou Chin in Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana, Chase encountered what he thought was a dangerous situation. A shrimp boat was approaching at a speed that he thought was too fast, so he pointed a firearm at it. The incident garnered a lot of attention on social media and raised questions about safety protocols during alligator hunting. Chase fired a gun at the vessel in an attempt to divert its path away from him. The shot apparently hit a plastic petrol can on the shrimp boat's cabin, causing it to leak fuel. The operator of the boat, Wayne Moyon, later stated that he was approximately 250 yards away when the incident occurred, remained at a safe distance from Chase's skiff, and posed no threat after the incident. Authorities from the Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office began an investigation, and deputies from St. Perry Parish found and arrested Landry during a traffic stop. When questioned, Landry admitted to firing the shot, citing concerns for his safety. Charges of illegal discharge of a weapon were later filed against Chase, who was booked into the Terrebonne Parish Jail due to the shrimp boat's speed and proximity. The case garnered significant attention, particularly because Chase was targeting swamp people. It also prompted conversations regarding the difficulties encountered by hunters in the area and the precautions they take to guarantee their Mitchell Gist. Safety Mitchell Gist, a member of the Swamp People cast, tragically passed away on May 14, 2012, 4 days before his 48th birthday. Mitchell was well known for his close relationship with his brother Glenn and his passion for alligator hunting. His untimely demise left fans and fellow cast members grieving the loss of a genuine legend from the swamp. A fan favorite on Swamp People, where they showcased traditional hunting and fishing techniques passed down through generations. Glenn and Mitchell were inseparable, living off the land and embracing a self-sufficient lifestyle that resonated with viewers. Mitchell was working on a houseboat near Bell River. He suddenly collapsed. At first it was thought he had a seizure, but later it was determined that he died of natural causes, specifically a heart attack. Efforts to revive him, including cardiopulmonary resuscitation, were unsuccessful. A local hospital pronounced him dead. The History Channel issued a statement expressing their profound sorrow. "It is with great sadness that we must inform you of the passing of Mitchell Gist, a dear friend and member of the Swamp People family. Mitchell went on to do what he loved best, hunt alligators." Tommy Chowan, also known as Trigger Tommy, was a close friend of Mitchell's stepfather Joe and a legendary alligator hunter. Joe LaFont and Tommy LaFont were involved in a serious 5-car pileup near the Arkansas-Louisiana border in May 2012. While they emerged physically unscathed, the incident left other individuals with serious injuries. However, LaFont was able to escape both near-death experiences while on the show, which had a lasting impact on his life and career. In a subsequent interview, he discussed how his boat saved his life in the crash. However, the most tragic incident happened in July 2019, when Chowan was severely hurt in a blast-related accident. The explosion caused amputation of his right hand and thumb, ruptured eardrums, damage to his eyes, multiple abrasions across his chest, and other injuries. He underwent 2 surgeries to preserve as much of his hand as possible, but the severity of his injuries meant that his primary hand lost a lot of function. Because of this, he had to stop working as a boat shed builder and miss out on that year's alligator hunting season. A GoFundMe campaign was started to help with his medical bills and provide for his family. Following his recovery from these life-altering events, he decided to retire from alligator hunting and his role on Swamp People during the CO-19 pandemic. He wanted to focus on his health and the Crum family. Dusty Crum is another cast member of Swamp People who had a near-death experience, which led some to question if the other members of the cast were involved in the deal from the thing Bill Wen. Dusty, also known as the Wild Man, was a famous python hunter who appeared on Swamp People. He became famous for his fearless capture of invasive Burmese pythons in Florida's Everglades. However, in November 2021, he faced a dangerous challenge away from the swamp and nearly lost his leg and life on November 4th. During a tragic incident on Florida's Interstate 77 in 2021, Dusty was a passenger in a truck. The driver lost control due to a flat tire on the trailer, causing the vehicle to fishtail and flip 3 times. Dusty's leg was ejected through a shattered window and crushed under the weight of the truck. In a last-ditch effort to save his leg, he managed to pull it back inside. To stop the bleeding while waiting for paramedics to arrive, Dusty used his shirt as a tourniquet. Crumb was airlifted to Lee Memorial Hospital in Fort Myers, where he had 5 surgeries to fix his severely damaged lower right leg and knee. The doctors weren't sure they could save his leg because of the extent of the injuries. Despite the seriousness of the accident, Crumb remained optimistic and committed to recovering. Dusty did not stop talking about wildlife. In 2023, he returned to the Everglades to participate in a spin-off called Swamp People Serpent Invasion, which focused on, in the midst of their fight against the invasive python population, Tyler the Swamp Dog, a much-loved canine teammate and fan favorite, died in 2014. His death had a profound effect on the Swamp People cast, as Tyler had been Bruce Mitchell's trusted hunting partner. As with many of the family's pets, Tyler became Bruce's constant companion after spending a lot of time in the swamp. He accompanied Bruce on gator hunts, helped him retrieve prey, alerted him of dangers, and even performed stunts like rolling over on the floor to catch a rat. Tyler, who loved to dive into the water and lend a hand on hunts, fought congestive heart failure, which weakened him. Despite his deteriorating health, he stayed active and went on hunts with Bruce until he passed away on April 28, peacefully in his sleep. Bruce's family was broken by the loss, and he broke the news to fans through a Facebook post. He thanked Tyler for the 13 years they spent together, saying the dog had a wonderful life, and that the cast would miss him greatly. There are many deceased or in jail members of the Swamp People cast, including main characters and guest stars. Which character did you like best? Leave a comment and tell us. Until then, take care.